Hey everyone, I am Abiola David, a Microsoft Fabric and Excel MVP. I am delighted to bring you another presentation in the ongoing Excel Virtually Global 2024 conference. In this presentation, I'm going to walk you through how to implement practical CI/CD in the Fabric notebook, leveraging Azure DevOps. Let's jump into the presentation. Let's see how we can implement all this solution. I'm going to come to this next slide. Now, in the next slide, we're going to go through this execution. First, we're going to create a data engineering project in the Azure DevOps and new repository. I'm going to go ahead and come to this tab. And of course, this is my dev.azure.com, and I can see my organization name. I'm going to come here in the create a project. I'm going to go ahead and call this one data engineering, and I'm going to scroll down and then go ahead and click on create. Data engineering project is created. We want to come to the repos. Now in the repos, we want to go ahead and create a new repository. So click on that and then choose new repository. We're going to call this one repo. You can call it any name. And in our case, we're going to have this add a readme file. Go ahead and click on create. So we're going to have the repo created with the main branch, which is the collaboration branch. Now, in our sample case, we're going to have two data engineers that publish their work to different branches. So we're going to actually click on this main and go ahead and create a new branch. We're going to call this one data engineer 1. This is going to be based on the main branch. Go ahead and click on create. And then I'm going to go back to the main branch and then go ahead and click on create a new branch. We're going to call this one data engineer 2 and go ahead and click on create. Beautiful. So for now, when I come to the branches, of course, we're going to have three of them: the main branch, the data engineer 1 and 2. Now let's come to our slide. So we've actually added this 1 and 2. So for the third point, we're going to go ahead and create what's called the dev data engineer 1 and dev data engineer 2 workspaces in the Fabric. So I'm going to come to the Fabric portal, and of course, I want to come to the workspaces and create a new workspace. I'm going to call this one Dev Data Engineer 1. Go ahead and click on Apply. This is going to create a workspace. Now, we want to attach this to the Data Engineer 1 branch. So I'm going to come to the Workspace Settings and then click on the Git Integration. And of course, I'm going to see my account. Basically, I'm going to use the Azure DevOps as the Git provider. So I'm going to see my account. And of course, I'm going to choose my organization. This is going to be Abiola David. And then for the project, I'm going to choose the data engineering project. And then for the repository, I'm going to choose the repo. And for the branch, now this is going to be connected to the data engineer branch. So go ahead and click on the data engineer 1. Go ahead and click on connect and sync. So you're connected to a Git repository. And of course, we're going to have this source control, which is really important. So we are done with this. Now, we want to go ahead and create a Fabric notebook in this workspace. So I'm going to click on this new and then click on notebook. In the notebook, we're going to rename, and let's call this one notebook for data engineer 1. Press enter to commit. I prepare some JavaScript code, which is going to be read into a data frame. I'm going to come here. I'm going to press Ctrl A to copy the whole thing and Ctrl C to copy, and then come back to the notebook. So I'm going to go ahead and delete all of this and Ctrl V. So let's scroll up and see. Now, basically, we're going to import pyspark.sql.type. We're going to import the struct type, struct field, integer type, and the string type. So we're going to have the definition of the schema for the data frame. So we have the schema and then we have the struct type. The struct type is a class required to define the schema of the data frame, which are the important list of struct field objects. And then for the struct field, this is a class that is used to define a single column in a data frame schema, including parameters such as column name, data type, and checking for nullable values or not. So for the struct field, we have the year as the column, and then we have the data type, the integer type, and then we have the true for nulls or not. So this is going to be the schema, and then we have the JavaScript object notation data. So this is going to follow the key value PS. So we have the key and the value. So we have the year and then the value. So I'm going to scroll down. So basically, this is a single line of transaction, and this is another line of transaction. So I'm going to scroll down. So after we've defined the schema and the data, I'm going to go ahead and at the bottom, I'm going to just do df underscore data engineer 1 let's just call it data engineer one, and then equals, I want to create a spark dot create data frame. So I can open the bracket and I can pass in the data and comma and then the schema. Okay, so we have, these are the data, and then we have the schema at the top. So the schema comprises all the columns. So these are the schema. Let me just go up. Okay, so we have the schema and then we have the data. So I'm going to go back at the bottom, and once we have this, I can go on and use the df underscore data engineer one, Ctrl V, and use the show method to print that out. Go ahead and press Ctrl Enter. So we can see we have the Spark job 2 of 2 succeeded, and of course we are able to successfully create the data frame from the JavaScript object notation data. So we have the year, the region, the subcategory, the product, price, quantity, and the sales amount columns. Beautiful. So having done this, I'm going to go ahead and close this tab for now, and then return back to the dev data engineering one. So I'm going to click on the source control. When I click on that, I'm going to see we have changes to push or to commit to the data engineer one branch. So let's just give this a name. Let's just call this one created data frame from JSON data. So I can go on and click on this to select the item. Now we're going to have this plot because we're actually adding something into the data engineer one branch. So this is going to be the plus status. Go ahead and click on commits. So your selected changes were committed to the data engineer one branch. So that's fine. Now we're going to have the sync, and then we have the name of the workbook, and then we have the type, and then the name of owner, and so on. Now I want to come to the Azure DevOps, and let's go to the data engineer one. So when I click on that, I'm going to see the newly committed notebook. So we have the notebook for data engineer one. I can click on that to expand. So I'm going to see the platform, the dot platform. This is going to actually show the schema, the metadata, and then we have in the metadata the type. This is notebook, and then we have the display name notebook for DE1. And then we have the description, and then we have the configuration, and then the version and logical ID. Cool. I can double click on this notebook content.py, and then we're going to see under the content tab, we have all the metadata such as the kernel info, the name is Synapse PySpark, and then we have the dependencies. Basically, we have the library we imported, and then we have data. When you scroll down, we're going to have some quite information. So these are all the data, and when I scroll down, I'm going to see the df underscore data engineer one, and then we created the Spark data frame, which is cool. Now we're done with this. When I go to the main branches, let's go there, click on that. Of course, we're not going to see anything because we've actually not created a pull request. So I can either create a pull request from here. I can even go back to the branches to the data engineer one, and I'm going to say they create a pull request. This is going to allow us to merge the changes from this data engineer one branch to the main branch. Before I create this, I'm going to come back to the Microsoft Fabric, and I want to go ahead and create a new workspace. So I'm going to call this one prod, and it's going to be attached to the main branch. So I'm going to type in prod for production, and then click on apply. This is created. So we want to go ahead and click on the workspace settings, and I want to click on the Git integration. Again, I'm going to choose my organization name. The project is going to be data engineering, and I want to choose the repo, and then this is going to be the main branch. So I'm going to scroll down and go ahead and click on connect and sync. Click on that. There we go. You're connected to Git repository. Fine. So we're going to have the source control. So I'm going to come back here and go ahead and create a pull request to match these changes from the data engineer one to the main branch. Click on that. As soon as I click on it, I'm going to see the title, and of course I can give a description. Now, before I do that, I'm going to come to the files. When I click on the files, I'm going to see we have the +12 in the dot platform. So these are basically all the lines that's going to be included in into the main branch. And then we have the notebook contents. So they're going to be adding 376 lines of code. So when you scroll, I'm going to see we have quite a lot of code, and that's fine. When you come to the commits here, I'm going to say create a data frame from JavaScript or documentation data. Fine. Come to the overview. Now, in the overview, I can go on and provide the name for the reviewer. I'm going to just choose my name, Abiola David, and I'm going to scroll down. So I can go on and create a pull request from the data engineer one to the main branch. Click on the create pull request. And then we're going to go ahead and approve this pull request. So we're going to have this Abiola created pull request. And then we're going to see the no merge conflicts detected. So we have the proposes to merge data engineer 1 to the main branch. Once I'm fine, I'm going to go ahead and click on approve. Now we have the approve and approve with suggestion, wait for auto and so on. Let's go ahead and click on approve. And then we're going to say approved the pull request and then go ahead and click on complete. Now I'm just going to go ahead and click on complete merge because we don't want to delete the data engineer 1 after the merging. We still need it for continuous delivery. So go ahead and click on complete merge and there we go. So when I scroll down, I'm going to see that Abiola completed the pull request and then no merge conflict, which is beautiful. And I'm going to go ahead and scroll up and I can go on and check it out in the main branch. When I come here, I'm going to see the notebook for data engineering 1 published, which is amazing. Again, I can double click on that and I can say this actually came about 5 minutes ago into the data engineer 1. I can click on this notebook content and I can see all the information. When I come to the history, of course, we just have this line graph, only one thing. I'm going to show this one later on, but for now, we have no previous changes. So everything looks the same, okay, on both sides. That's fine. So when I come to the prod that is attached to the main branch, I'm going to go ahead and just press Ctrl R to refresh. And of course, we're going to have something in the source control as an update. You have pending update from Git. We recommend you update the incoming changes and then continue working. So click on this source control. We're going to see 1 and now we're going to have updates, not changes now because it is actually coming into the Fabric workspace. Now we're going to see this is a plus and go ahead and click on update all. There we go. Your content was synced and we're going to have that in the product, which is cool. Now let's go back to the workspaces and then let's go to the dev data engineer tool. So we'll go ahead and create a new workspace and then I'm going to call this one dev data engineer tool and then go ahead and click on apply. So again, okay, I can rename. This is incorrect spelling, but I'm just come here and rename. So I'm going to call this one data engineering. Okay, and then that's fine. So we want to attach this to the data engineer tool branch. So click on the Git integration and I want to choose the organization name. The project is going to be data engineering and our repository is going to be the repo. The branch is going to be data engineer tool because this is the dev platform for the data engineer tool. Go ahead and scroll down and then click on connect and sync. So this created, of course, you're connected to a Git repository, fine. Now I can go on and create the notebook for this because both of these engineers are actually working on different projects. So one is actually reading the JavaScript data for the 2015 and the other for the 2016. So again, I'm going to come to this notebook and of course I've got this code for data engineer tool. Go ahead and Control A to copy, Control C to copy, and then I'm going to come here, delete, Control V. So this is almost similar. So you can see we have the schema, and then we have the data, and then we have the key value pairs, we have the year, and then the value. So I'm going to go ahead at the bottom again after this maybe row number 86. I'm going to go ahead and do df underscore data engineer 1 engineer 2. Okay, equals to, and I want to use the spark dot create data frame, and then we're going to pass in the data, comma, and then the schema, and then we can use the variable name here. Go ahead and copy this, Ctrl V, and then use the show method to print, Control Enter. There we go. So we're able to successfully read the data into the Spark data frame. So we have the transaction for the 2016. Beautiful. I'm going to go ahead and rename this to make it easier for us to understand. So notebook for data engineer 2 and press enter. So I'm going to go ahead and close this for now. And then when I come back to that workspace, there's going to be something for us to commit. So click on the source control and then we have the commit. We're going to call this one created data frame from JavaScript data. So go ahead and select the items and click on commit. Now we are committing to the data engineer 2 branch 2. Click on commit. So there we go. Your selected merges changes were committed. So I can come back here and I can go to the branches and then go to the data engineer tool. Okay, there we go. It just arrived now, which is super cool. And I can go on and create a pull request to merge that to the main branch. So this is going to be from the data engineer tool into the main branch. So everything is almost the same. Go ahead and provide a reviewer name. Okay, I'm going to choose my name and create the pull request. So once the pull request has been triggered, I'm going to go ahead and approve and complete the pull request. So click on complete merge. Okay, there we go. So it has been merged into the main branch. So we have the merge PR33. Go ahead and click on the main branch, and they're going to see we have the notebook for data engineer tool. Again, I can double click to check it out. I can go to the notebook content and I can see the whole thing, which is super cool. Again, I'm going to come back here and go. Let me just close this. Let's go back to the prod. Okay, production that is attached to the main branch. Again, we're going to see an update to attend to. Click on that and then go ahead and click on update all. So your content was synced, so that's fine. So we're going to have the notebook for the data engineer 1 and 2. I'm going to go back to the dev for the data engineer 1. Go back to that workspace. And then let's go back to the notebook. Let's open it up. Now in the notebook, I'm going to go ahead and scroll down. Okay, let me scroll down. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and copy this variable name. Okay, this is actually incorrect spelling, no problem. Let me just copy that. And when I scroll down, I can go on and create a new cell, Control V, and then want to use the filter function. So for the filter function, we want to filter the data frame for the data engineer 1 that's equal to the product column. So I'm going to type in the product column. So I'm going to say, hey, is the product column equals to inside double quote laptop. So this is going to be the name, and then I can use the dot show method to print that out. So again, let me check it out. So we have the product, that's fine. I'm going to go ahead and run all the cells because this has been disconnected. Click on the run all, and it's going to run this again, and then we're going to see the result at the bottom. There we go. So we have this is working. So we have the filter for all the product that equal to laptop for the data engineer 1. Now don't worry about this error in the naming convention. That's fine. So I can go back to the dev data engineer 1 workspace, and then maybe under 3 minutes or so, I should be able to see a changes in the source control. So I'm going to go ahead and merge. Okay, there we go. It's there. So let's just call this one filter the products that equal to laptop. Okay, so once this is done, I can go on and select. Now we can see this is a modified, not add, not delete. Now delete is always red, the added is going to be the green, and then the modified is going to be this color here. So go ahead and click on commit to the data engineer 1 branch. So there we go. Your selected changes were committed, and I'm going to go back and go to the branches. Now, when I go to the branches, I'm going to go to the data engineer 1, and I'm going to see that, okay, something just came in now. Now, let's check it out. I'm going to click on this and then go to the notebook content. And of course, let's go to the history now. When I go to the history, we're going to see we have this graph, okay, extended. So the first one is this created and then the filtered, which is cool. Now let's go to the compare. Now in the compare, we can see this is the previous one, the first one we did by creating all of this code. And when I scroll down, there's going to be some changes at the bottom. Can you see? So previously we don't have this filter, but now in the new stage we have 11 lines added. So we applied the filter function on top of the data engineer 1 data frame, which is super cool. So I can go on and create a pull request, and I want to merge this into the main branch. So this is fine, 1 to the main branch. And I can just choose the name of the reviewer, Abiola David. All right. Of course, we're not talking about the advanced security because you can actually protect the branches so that the data engineers do not make the changes to the main branch directly, but just saying the major part. So I'm going to scroll down and click on the create pull request, and then want to approve this and then go ahead and complete the request. Click OK. Okay, that's fine. When I go to the main branch, and I'm going to see for the data engineer one, click on that. I'm going to click on the notebook content, and when I go to the compare and I scroll down to the compare, I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to see the changes. Can you see? Yeah, this is fine. So this has been published fine. I'm going to come back to the prod workspace, so the production, click on that, and then we're going to see there's a change to commit. Fine. So now this is going to be modified also. Okay, so go ahead and click on, and now before I click on this, let me show you the notebook one. Before committing or accepting the changes, of course we don't have the filter at the bottom. Can you see it's absolutely nothing at the bottom? Let's go back to the prod and then go ahead and commit. So prod, click on updates and then click on update all. So as soon as that is updated in this prod workspace, we're going to see the filter in the notebook one. Okay, your content was synchronized, which is fine. So I can go back to the notebook for the data engineer one. So when I go back, let me just say another user has, okay, let me just check that again. Okay, let me close this and let's close this and let's go back to the data engineer one. Okay, when I scroll, I'm going to see the filter at the bottom. Can you see we have the filter, which is super cool. Now, let's go ahead and do the same thing for the data engineer 2. I'm going to go to the dev data engineer 2, click on that, and then we'll go ahead and apply maybe a filter also. Let's say we want to filter all the, okay, let's go down. I'm going to go ahead and copy the variable. So I'm just going to copy this, and when I scroll down and go ahead and Ctrl V, so I'm going to use the dot filter function there. And then for the filter, let's want to filter all the regions that equals to, let's say east. So their frame, dot, and I'm going to put in the name of the column, the region. I want to say equals into double quotes east region. And I want to use the dot show method to display this filter. Okay, so this is going to throw an error because we have to run this code at the top first. So let's see, it's going to throw an error in a moment. Okay, there we go. So this is not defined because we have actually not executed the first one. So click on the run all, and then this is going to run the first one at the top, and then this is going to work. Okay, so this is fine. So when I scroll down, and there we can you see, so we've filtered all the region that equal to east, which is super cool. And let's go ahead and close this and close because it is saved automatically. And in the dev data engineer 2, I'm going to see there's a new thing to update. So let's say filtered the region that equal to east. So go ahead and make these changes, commit to the data engineer 2 branch. So there we go, and then we can come back here and let's go to the branches. Now the branches, we want to go to the data engineer 2, and then we can see we have that sorted, and then we want to create a pull request. So I want to merge into the main branch. I can use the same name and then go ahead and choose the name. Of course, I can even forget about this. It's not compulsory. Click on the create pull request. And then we want to go ahead and approve and complete the merge. So click on that. There we go. And we can go and check it out in the main branch. And come there. Let's come to the data engineer 2. Click on that. And I want to go to the notebook and then come to the compare. So when I scroll down, I'm going to see the changes here. There we go. So we have the filter, which is super amazing. Now, let's do something. I'm going to go back to the fabric. So let me go back to the dev engineer 1. All right. Okay. So let me just apply one more filter. So let's say I want to filter. Let me just copy this code to make it easier and straightforward. I'm going to copy this code. Okay. And scroll down and I'm going to paste. Okay, let's want to filter to return all the product that equals to tablets. I'm going to just type in tablets here and go ahead and run all. So when I run all, this is going to execute all the code. Okay, so we have all the product that equal to tablets. Now I'm going to go ahead and commit. So I'm going to come back here in the data engineer one, go ahead and let's call this one tablet product filtered, and then go ahead and commit. Okay, so this is going to be matched to the data engineer one. So our goal is I'm actually going to accept this into the main branch and then go back and revert or roll back. So I'm going to come back here and I'm going to go to the branches to the data engineer one. So when I click on that, it's going to be a new change. So I can click on this and let's check it out by coming to the compare. And when I scroll down, I'm going to see we have the filter for the product that equal to tablet. Now I'm going to go ahead and create a pull request. So when I create a pull request, I'm going to go ahead and just go ahead and approve the pull request. Let me scroll down, go ahead and create, approve, and then we can complete that process. So that's completed. And of course, when I go back to my prod workspace, so the production, and I'm going to see the changes waiting to be accepted. So I'm going to click on this and then just go ahead and accept or update all the changes. Okay, there we go. So this has been synchronized. Now, when I go back to the notebook for the data engineer one, of course, I'm going to see that filter at the bottom here. Can you see? So we have the product that equals to tablet, which is fine. No, but I'm going to go back here. Now, what about if I want to roll back or revert these changes, this filter from here? What do I do? I'm going to use this functionality called the revert. This is going to roll back. So click on that. And when I click on that, I'm going to say, hey, revert pull request 36. So revert the changes made in this pull request into a target branch. A topic branch will be created with the reverted changes, and then you'll be prompted to create a pull request to the target branches. Topic branch name required. Go ahead and click on revert. So when I click on revert, so we're going to have this, the revert operation successfully created the new branch, data engineer one, revert from main. So I'm going to go ahead and complete this. So go ahead and click on this create the reverse, click on that, and then again I'm going to require or provide the approval. So go ahead and click on the approve, and can you see we have the approve, and then click on complete to complete the reverse. So we have the revert table product filtered. So go ahead and click on complete merge. So there we go, the revert is there, and I can go back to the notebook, the production workspace. So let me just close this for now, and let's go to the prod. So when I go to the production, I'm going to see this change. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and accept the change. Go ahead and click on the change. So this is going to be about the reversal. So go ahead and click on update all. So as soon as I click on update all, we're going to see the reversal. By the way, we have the git status update required. So let's finish updating all of this, and let's see what happened in the notebook for the data engineer one. Your content was synchronized. So when I go back here, of course, I'm not going to see that filter dot or that equals to table. Can you see it's gone off? So we have the product that equals to tablet, reverse out, which is cool. So this is basically how we can revert things. Now that's fine. So let's go to our slide. Now in our slide, we want to go ahead and create a Lakehouse. We're going to open a new notebook and then name as DE1 and 2 notebook. And then we're going to fetch all the codes in the notebook for the data engineer 1 and 2. So I'm going to come back here and I want to make sure I'm in the production. So in the production, I'm going to click on this new, and I want to click or create a lakehouse. Let's just call this one sales data match. Okay, go ahead and click on create. So this is going to create a lakehouse for us. Now in the lake, yes, so just go ahead and click on this open new notebook. So click on that. So we're just going to call this one notebook for data engineer 1 and 2. So notebook for DE1 and DE2. So go ahead and click OK. So now I can come back to the prod and let me just copy the code, to make it quite easier, straightforward. I'm going to copy this code in this notebook for the data engineer 1. So I'm just going to copy this major part. So go ahead and Control C to copy, and then let me go back to the notebook for both of them. I'm going to come here and Control V to paste, And let's just go ahead and print this. So let's see the code. Okay, there we go. So we have the code here. That's fine. So let's go ahead and do the same thing for the data engineer 2 notebook. So I'm going to come back to the prod and let's open it up. Data engineer. Okay, no, let's go with the DE2. Okay, this. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and copy this code also. Let's Control C to copy and then go back to the notebook for the DE1 and DE2. I'm going to scroll down and create a new cell. Go ahead and Control V to paste and Control Enter to print that. All right, so there we go. So we have the 2016, and then when you go to the top, we have the 2015, so which is fine. So the next thing we'll do is to come to this notepad. Now, I just have some code here. So basically, we're going to combine the data frame into one. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this code, or let's just copy the whole thing first. So let's just copy the whole thing, Control C to copy, and I'm going to scroll down. All right, so when I scroll down, I can create a new cell. Control V. So this basically, we're going to have the data frame for the data engineer 1, and then we're going to use the union by name period or the function, and then we're going to pass in the data frame for the data engineer 2. I want to make sure that the name corresponds. So let me go up and copy the names of the, let me just copy this to be sure. Okay, and then I'm going to scroll down. Okay, I think this is correct. And let's do the same thing for the first one at the top. So I'm going to copy, I actually renamed this, so this is fine. Let me copy this and let me paste here. Okay, so that we can have the same thing. So after, okay, let's just go ahead and run this code first. I'm going to cut this out and Control Enter. So when I press Control Enter, we're going to have this result for the combined data frame for the data engineer 1 and 2. So there we go. Code executed in 10 seconds, 141 milliseconds. So we're going to have the 2015 and 2016. So I can go on, and now don't forget this is attached to the workspace we created, this sales data match. I'm going to Ctrl V, so I'm going to just go ahead and use the .write .format, and it's going to be written in the form of a delta table, and then we're going to use the mode method to overwrite if it exists. And then we're going to use the save as table, and then this is going to be the name of the table, combined sales. So let's go ahead and Control Enter to run the code, and let's see the solution. Okay, so you can see this actually executed in 27 seconds and so on, which is fine. Now let's go back to the sales data merge workspace. I'm going to just go ahead and click on this ellipsis and then click on refresh. When I click on refresh, I'm going to see the combined sales, which is super cool. So this is the delta table. Amazing. So let's just see the preview of the data. So let's just wait. As we're waiting, let's just quickly switch to the SQL analytics endpoint, and then we can interrogate the data and we can analyze further. Okay, amazing. So we have the data as a combined sales. So I can scroll down and check it out. Can you see we're going to have the 2015 and then the 2016, which is super cool. And then our data analyst can go on and perform some data analysis and then get some insights for some strategic data-driven decisions. I'm going to click on this new SQL. Let's just perform a simple data analysis using the SQL. So let's say we want to select the year column. So I'm going to type in the year column and then comma, and then we want to use the sum function to aggregate the sales, and I'm going to put this as total sales, and then we want to specify the name of the table, which is going to be, in this case, combined sales, and then we want to use the group by clause. So we want to group by the year column, and then we want to order by, so let's say we want to order by the sum of sales, and then this is going to be in descending order. So this is going to be our query, and then we can go ahead and run this query, and let's see the result. There we go. So we have the 2015 and then the 2016, and we have the total sales. So this is essentially how we can use the Azure DevOps to create a continuous integration and continuous delivery as it relates to Microsoft Fabric Notebook. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you do, like, share with your friends, comment, and follow me for more videos. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.